In this video, I'm going to talk you through some of the steps that you need to take to get started buying and selling domain names for profit. When you follow these steps, it really does become as simple as a walk in the park. There are two first steps that you can take, and I'm calling them step 1A and step 1B. And step 1A is to find your domains on specialist sites. Now, each and every day there are hundreds of thousands of new domain names registered, always for a minimum of 1 year. There are possibly almost as many reasons why individuals and businesses register them as there are names, but whatever the reason, it's a fact that a significant proportion of the domains created never get any further. They're registered, but no one ever uses them, and they're allowed to expire without a site ever being launched. Then you have domains that belong to businesses that cease to exist, or to individuals who are no longer interested in an online venture that they started, and so on. And it adds up to lots and lots of reasons why thousands of domain names are allowed to expire every single day. When a domain name expires, it goes onto the open market, and anyone can buy it if you know where to look. Fortunately, there are many places where a list of dropped or expired domain names is available either daily or weekly, and here's some of them. Justdropped.com is a good one, as is this one, dropday.com. Then there's expireddomainup.com, and finally this one here, redhotdomainnames.com. And when you use these resources, and there are many more, you can either download a list of domain names or have them mailed to you. The way each of these sites and the others like them work varies one to another, so have a look at a few of them to find one that you're most comfortable with. In addition to registry sites that offer drop domain lists, there are several places where you can buy domain names privately and sometimes find bargains. To begin with, go to ebay.com, and I recommend you go to the main US site ebay.com even if you're outside the United States, and type domains into the search box. You'll come to a page like this, and it'll show you these other searches here, and what you can do is then work through them. So I'm going to click on domain names, and you'll see we've got a list of domain names for sale here. And you can just simply work through and see what's available. And as you can see here, let's just see, there are 9,639 results just on this particular one search for domain names. Now, some of the people saying domain names will be professional people, like you'll soon be, who recognize the value of a particular domain name and who have therefore priced it accordingly. Not everyone falls into this category, however, and you'll pick up some bargain buys from time to time. I also like to search eBay for aged domains as well, and I'll explain exactly what this means and why in a later video. And when you do it this way, it often filters the results more accurately, and you'll get far fewer domain names returned, but you won't have to plow through as many to find the gems either. The important thing when using a site like eBay is to decide on how much you're willing to spend on a particular name and then stick to it. Make sure that you always stick to your maximum bid and be ready to walk away if you're unsuccessful. The thing about auction sites is not to get wrapped up in the excitement of the occasion, and if you do, you'll generally end up spending way over the odds. Remember that in order to make money from domain flipping, you have to be able to sell anything you buy at a profit. You don't do that if you've paid too much, so always set a maximum figure. You'll get better at doing so as you gain experience, and make sure you stick to it. Next, there are several forum sites where you'll find domain names for sale. You'll need to join these forums to get involved in the action, but you can at least see what's available without doing so. To begin with, here are several domains for sale subforums of the dnforum.com site. If you come here to dnforum.com and then scroll down the home page to get to Platinum Forums, you'll see them all listed here. And when you click on any of these forums, you'll see what's currently available or what has recently sold and what the price was. And this is a good way of getting a feel about what people are buying and selling and how much they're willing to pay. Another forum where you'll often pick up a bargain domain name is Digital Point. And if you come here to forums.digitalpoint.com, you scroll down and click here on the business link, and then a bit further down, skip this one that says domain names, because that's just general domain name issues. Come down here to where it says buy, sell or trade, and click on that one, and then scroll down here, and you can see on the sub forums you've got sites and you've got domains and so on. And all you have to do now is go through the current offers to see if there's anything attractive available. Bear in mind that when you're buying through forum sites or on a site like eBay, you can take your time to some extent because the auction generally takes its time to run its course. Now this is unlike working with the daily listing produced by registry sites, where speed is usually of the essence. Thus you have a bit more time to do your research, and you can be a little bit more careful when you're buying privately through a forum or from eBay. With forums, if you find a domain name that really appeals, what you can do is contact the vendor directly and make them a direct offer. Tell them that if they agree to sell it to you for X dollars, you're able to make the payment immediately and facilitate the transfer in the same time frame. And what you want to do is say that you're doing this because you want to get moving, and you'll sometimes find that this direct approach works, particularly if they're getting little or no interest in their offer. It's unconventional, but if a vendor is sitting on a domain that doesn't appear to be moving, then they're often willing to listen to any offer. You can also try searching forum sites for aged domains in exactly the same way as you searched for them on eBay. Domains that have a few years on the clock already often sell for between 5 and 10 times the purchase price without too much effort, so running this simple search can often be extremely lucrative. Using a precise search resource allows you to search for expired domains using very wide selection parameters, which works well if you know exactly what you're looking for. In most cases, however, you don't, because unlike someone who is buying a domain name for their own site, you don't have any specific target apart from grabbing domains that others will be willing to buy. Not surprisingly, not every domain that's dropped or expired is one that's going to sell. For this reason, you should either download a complete list of all expired or expiring domains every day to enable you to locate the gems amongst the dross, or sort them before doing so. To sort or filter them in advance, you could run your filter after downloading the complete list using this free program here, which is the domain name filter from domainpunch.com, and it's domainpunch.com/products/domain filter. The best thing with this free tool is the fact that it has the ability to work with very long text lists, pulling out all domains that do not meet your search criteria. And this means that you can get rid of all the domains that have little or no resale value before getting down to the nitty-gritty of really isolating domains that people will buy. The domain names that will make you the most money are those that are closely related to or describe a niche market where there's money to be made. Now, this could be a niche that could be monetized with AdSense, or one where products and or services sell well. It doesn't matter as long as it's a niche where there is money to be made. The next requirement for your selected domain names is to be as short as possible. It's a simple fact that net users will find shorter names more memorable and therefore more easily revisited. Fortunately, most filtering programs allow you to set a minimum and maximum domain name length. I also use keywords as a vital integral element of my initial domain name research. So if I find a name that looks good, I'll quickly run a keyword search using the Google Keyword Research tool to establish whether the name contains a market-specific keyword that is regularly searched. If it does, then you literally have stumbled upon pure gold, because as anyone who knows the first thing about optimizing a site for the search engines understands, a keyword-rich domain name is one of the most effective tools for getting that site on the first search result page. Now, to be honest, there are not many keyword-rich domain names that you'll be able to buy at rock-bottom prices, because most resellers will recognize these domains and they'll bump the prices up accordingly. Nevertheless, they do come along every once in a while, and they are therefore well worth having a look out for. Next, you're going to have a hard time selling domain names that have odd spellings or contain dashes or numbers and so on. These don't look nice, they're difficult for average net users to remember, and most importantly of all, they're not 100% connected to the target niche. For all these reasons, the more creative domains, those that have numbers and so on, are to be avoided. Next, when you're looking at domain names on any list you have, try to identify what they might be used for. Although it's quite possible and even likely that your purchaser will use any domain name you sell them in a completely different way to what you have in mind, it's still helpful to have a clear idea of what a domain could be used for. Now, some names are obviously very clearly related to a particular purpose or niche market. It wouldn't, for example, be too difficult to understand how buyantiquewatches.com might be used, for the most effect. However, there may be some times when a domain name that has no immediate appeal or apparent purpose becomes something completely different, something eminently saleable if you approach it laterally. Finally, .com names are always like to be the ones that potential customers most want to buy. It's a fact that even with the recent proliferation of alternative domain name suffixes, the net is still a .com world for the vast majority of users. You also need to do more research with less popular domains, looking into previous traffic statistics, where the sites that were housed under those domains had any Google PageRank and so on, before committing yourself, because one way or another, anything other than a .com is like to be harder to sell. Personally, I would avoid anything ending a .biz or .info, as search engines seem to think that these are spam sites regardless of whether they are or not. And we'll continue this video in part 2.